on me, but he was dead straight with me. That means his propeller was facing me.
Was that a German plane
The
then?
German,
Yeah.
and the guns were not left and right of the propeller.
Yeah.
I could hear him hitting the ground.
Yeah.
And I got to the farmhouse before he could get me in his sight, for, you know, and I heard him turn around, so I came out and he was coming back and he was fairly low, so I gave him the German salute with my left hand and I put my right hand up with 2 fingers. I knew he didn't have any bullets left. So that was another episode I had on.
So that's in France, isn't it?
This is in
and,
France.
And you ended up leaving France. So I think it'd be interesting just to say a little bit about North Africa as well.
Right, well, I'll tell you a little bit about France to finish it off. I was 8 days on the beach.
Yeah.
I was 18 and a half years of age and I was contemplating suicide.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm not going to get blown up by them, I'm not going to be blown to pieces. I told my mates, I said, I'm going to find some ways of killing myself because you're looking at bodies going in the air day after day after day, machine gunning and bombing. And then there's an ambulance ship and a destroyer tied to the pier. And I had my officer shouting out, the next man that stands on this ship, I'll shoot him. And they pulled off. There must have been 600 or 700 men on both the ships combined. They'd only gone about 200 yards and they blew them out of the water, the dive bombers.
Mm.
And all we could say was, why the hell didn't they stop while it was dark?
Obvious, yeah.
600 or 700 men died there, we never turned there, it didn't bother us. The next morning, I thought the good Lord had answered my prayers, he'd answer my prayers often. There was a small ship came around the end of the pier and the pier is about 3/4 of a mile long. It's a very long one. It wasn't very big, all I could see was a small sail.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it and it pulled away from the pier and then stopped. And I had a fair idea from where I lived and born in Swansea about ships and docks. We lived on the shore.
Yeah.
I thought he was shellfishing. And I thought, if he's shellfishing, he's going to be there 2 hours. So I said to my 2 mates, I'm going to swim to that ship, I'll try. I says, if I start off, there's no return, I'll drown. And I thought, I prefer to drown rather than be blown to pieces. So I said, I'm not asking you to come with me. I put my boots around my neck and then I made my way through the lads till I got to the water and I started to swim. And they were behind me, these 2 lads. And I thought, that's all right. So I kept swimming and swimming. And each time I fought it to turn around to see where they were, they seemed to be further and further away. And then fortunately I was floating again and I was hardly making a ripple in the water. And the dive bomber came and blew them out of the water, both of them, shot them to pieces. I never turned there, so it could have been me.
Mm.
So I thought, I'm going to swim, and I swam and I swam and I swam. And I got to that ship, and the 2 Frenchmen on it pulled me in. And I was laid on the floor, gasping on the deck. And when I looked up, they were shouting and shouting, and I looked up to see what they were shouting at. And there was a destroyer, British destroyer, coming towards us. And I got them to understand I wanted to stand up. And when they stood me up, and I showed my uniform was showing.
Yeah.
And he stopped that good captain, whoever he was, I don't know.
On the destroyer.
He dropped a rope ladder over. I had enough energy left to climb that rope ladder. There was a mug of tea up the top. I got back to England on the destroyer. That was it. There's other stories attached to that.
That's France. We're going to have to go shortly. It might be we have to come back for. I said we're going to have to go in a minute.
Oh,
yeah.
My time's bags of it.
Yeah.
You go when you want and come when you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So we perhaps come back and look at. We'll we'll do something on France first, and then perhaps come back in a few weeks and
Well,
do.
What, you know, these 5 war pictures or so,
Yeah.
with the vicious lies
Yeah.
that they were telling. There's one thing that in North Africa, I think I told you, didn't I? What he says, I was in hospital with me
Yes,
pneumonia.
that's
at the time.
right.
It made me cry and cry and cry. And if I think of the word now, it makes me cry. And the bloody words in my head.
Yes.
He called us cowards.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you were anything but cowards, weren't you?
the thing is, he was talking to the British public.
Yes.
They don't know any different. And he's telling the British public, we've buried 18,000 lads out in that desert.
Yeah.
18,000. The bloody hypocritical invasion of Europe never happened. This country, the government of this country at the time, they were producing, which I want the public to know, they were producing tanks and planes, and do you know what they were doing with them? They were stacking them in race courses and fields all over the British Isles, stacking the tanks and planes there, ready for the invasion of France.
Yeah.
And our poor lads are stretched around the world, in Burma, everywhere. They didn't know what a tank looked like. That government sent us to war with a rifle and 50 rounds of ammunition, and after the war the Prime Minister made a statement on television that he, not television, wireless, that he was going to make a public speech that Thursday he come in. So
This
the
is
evidence,
Churchill.
pardon?
This is Churchill, is
No,
it?
Anthony Eden.
Anthony Eden, right.
And he says, they all listen to a public speech in this country, and he says, when we sent our troops to France, when we sent our troops to Burma, when we sent our troops to North Africa, he said not one tank, not one plane, and no artillery went with them, simply because there was not one tank in the British Isles to send with them.
Yeah.
And they declare war on the finest military force the world had ever seen. They could put 1,000 tanks in the field, 1,000 planes, and we got a bloody rifle and 50 rounds of ammunition. That's why we retreated, and that's what the public wants to know.